Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa. Get your education booklet in our daily newspaper, street sales, or at your school every Monday to Thursday for pre-primary up until grade 3. The lessons are for listening or watching online. Inside the newspapers, there is an insert of the lesson booklet. Please cut the top of the lesson booklet with a pair of scissors and fold it for ready to use. But there is more. We are also available on our online platforms, MyZone and Zoshi Facebook pages, and in addition, our website, Zoshi Online.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to My Zone Online School. I am Teacher Hartung, and our theme for this week is the food chain and saving water. Now, boys and girls, before we start our lesson today, we have to remember to sanitize. Remember, everyone, sanitizing keeps all the nasty germs away, so make sure you use enough. Now let's quickly see what we are going to learn about today. We're going to do a reading comprehension, number concept development, and computation. Now we start our lesson on page 3. Here we have a reading comprehension. So this reading comprehension is about the food chain. Now let's quickly read the story together. One day, a wolf came out of the forest to a nearby village in search of food. In the village was a man who owned a large flock of sheep. The wolf saw the flock and thought how nice it would be to visit the village every day. He'll surely have a feast then. But the sheep were too well guarded by a barbed fence around. Totally disappointed, the wolf went back to the forest. A few days later, as the wolf was moving around, he found a sheep's skin. He thought, I can look like a sheep by putting this on me. He thus put on the skin that night and walked into the village. Before anyone could see, the wolf slipped into the kraal where the sheep were kept. He ate one fat sheep that night. The next day, he also managed to eat a sheep. The next day, the shepherd came to take the sheep out for grazing. All the sheep moved here and there and grazed while the wolf just stood in a corner. All the sheep bleated happily as they had fresh grass while the wolf stood motionless. The shepherd observed this. He got suspicious and went near the wolf. He recognized it to be a wolf in sheep's skin. Quietly, he took his stick and started beating the wolf till it fell dead. The shepherd took the sheep back to the kraal and the dead wolf back to his house. And that night, he and his family enjoyed a nice warm wolf stew. Now, let's look at the questions. Question 1. Draw the food chain based on the story. Now remember, a food chain is a series of organisms, each dependent on the next source of food. Question 2. What lesson did the wolf learn? Let's quickly read the questions one more time. Question 1. Draw the food chain based on the story. A food chain is a series of organisms, each dependent on the next source of food. So, you have to look at what is dependent on what in the story to finish your food chain. Number 2, what lesson did the wolf learn? Now, let's quickly read the story one last time. One day, a wolf came out of the forest to the nearby village in search of food. In the village was a man who owned a large flock of sheep. The wolf saw the flock and thought how nice it would be to visit the village every day. He'll surely have a feast then. But the sheep were too well guarded by a barbed fence around. Totally disappointed, the wolf went back to the forest. A few days later, as the wolf was moving around, he found a sheep's skin. He thought, I can look like a sheep by putting this on me. He thus put on the skin that night and walked into the village. And before anyone could see, the wolf slipped into the kraal where the sheep were kept. He ate one fat sheep that night. The next day, he also managed to eat a sheep. The next day, the shepherd came to take the sheep out for grazing. All the sheep moved here and there and grazed for a while the wolf stood in a corner. All the sheep bleated happily as they had the fresh grass, while the wolf stood motionless. The shepherd observed this. He got suspicious and went near the wolf. He recognized it to be a wolf in sheep's skin. Quietly, he took his stick and started beating the wolf until it fell dead. The shepherd took the sheep back to the kraal and the dead wolf back to his house. And that night, he and his family enjoyed a nice warm wolf stew. Now, boys and girls, I want you to read the questions one more time and try and answer these questions on your own. We will be back after this ad break.
Follow us on MyZone Facebook Active Kids to watch your daily lesson and other fun activities with Zoe and Zoshi.
In this part of our lesson, we are starting on page 4. Now here we are going to do number concept development. Number 1 says we have to write the place value of the underlined digit. Write the place value of the underlined digit. Now the first example has been done for you. Now remember, boys and girls, place values is where we talk about hundreds, tens and units. Now the first number is the number 637. And the number that is underlined is the number 3. And number 3 is in the 10th place value. So, if we take the underlined digit, then we say it is equal to 30. Now, boys and girls, I am going to do 2 more examples with you. On the board, I wrote more examples. The first example, remember, is the one that I did with you, 637, which is equal to 30 because the underlined digit was 3 and we have our units, tens, 30 and hundreds. Let's try another one. The next number is the number 849. Listen carefully also to what it sounds like. 849. And the underlined digit is the number 4. So we have hundreds, tens and units. Let's say the number together again. 849. 40 is then the underlined digit, and there you will see I wrote down the number 40 for you. Let's try another one. The next number is 335. Say it with me. 335. And the underlined digit is the number 3. So now we have to go ahead and see what our place values are. Hundreds, tens, units. Right. So if our 100th digit is underlined, then it means we say its value is 300. Right. Now everyone, before you continue to finish all the other numbers or sums, let's quickly have a look at number 2. On page 4, it reads, build up the numbers. So we have to look at all those numbers and we have to build them up. So it's almost the opposite of what we have just done. Right. Now you will see on the page there is also one example before I do another one with you. Let's look at the example. The example is 200 plus 10 plus 3. And that equals to 213. Right. So we have to continue to build up more numbers. Let's quickly do one together. So I have done one on the board for you all the way up there, number 2. And the number is 500 plus 80 plus 7. Remember, hundreds, tens and units. So hundreds, 500, tens, 80, units, 7. So if we build it up together and put it together as one number, we get the number 587. Right. Now, boys and girls, let's quickly go ahead and try number 3 together as well. Let's quickly go back to number 4, page 4 and see. Number 3 says, break down the numbers. And you will see another example was done for you. So the number that we need to break down is the number 413. Now there you will see the number 413 was broken down into, once again, hundreds, tens and units. Now let's see 413 hundreds is 400. Our tens is 10 and our units will be the number 3. Okay, now let's quickly try 2 more examples together. I put these examples on the board for you. Let's see, the first number is the number 215. So if we have to break it down, we say we have to look at our hundreds, tens and units. So our hundreds will be 200. Our tens will be 10. And our units will be the number 5 over there. Right. And all together it gives us 215. Let's try another one. The next number is the number 690. So our 6 hundredths, 9 tens, 0 units. Let's break it down. 600, our tens, 90 and units is 0. Okay, and this will now give us the number 690. Right, boys and girls, now before you go ahead and finish all the sums on page 4, let's quickly have a look at what you need to do on page 5. On page 5, we need to do computation. And this time around, everyone, we are going to do some addition and subtraction. So you will see on page 5, you have plus sums and subtraction or minus sums. So here we have to add all the numbers together and also subtract. So I'm going to do 2 examples with you once again. Let's quickly look at the first sum, 674 plus, please boys and girls, remember to look at the sign to make sure you have where you have to add or subtract. So 674 plus 249. Right, let's add it together to see if I have added up correctly. So we say 4 plus 9 is 13. Good job. So we write our units 3 and our tens we add to the tens, of course. And now we add our tens together. We say 7 plus 4 is 11. But remember, we should not forget about the 1 which gives us 12. So 7 plus 4 plus 1 is 12. So we put the 2 and the rest we add up there again. Let's add up our hundreds. So 6 plus 2 equals 8. That's right, everyone. 8 plus 1 is 9. So the answer here is 923. Let's quickly try another one before you continue with the rest. Here we have 923 minus 567. So let's subtract and see if it's correct. So the first one is 3 minus 7. Can we subtract 7 from 3? No, because 3 is less than 7. So we go ahead and we borrow from the 2. Then we say 13 minus 7 is 6. Now we go ahead. Remember we borrowed, so we only have 1 left. Can we say 1 minus 6? No, we can't, because once again, 1 is less than 6. So what do we do now, boys and girls? We go ahead and we borrow some more. So we borrow from the 9, we add another 1, and remember, after we borrow, we have 8 left. So now we say 11 minus 6 equals 5. Next, we say 8 minus 5 equals 3. That's right, everyone. We can subtract 5 from 8 because 8 is bigger than 5. And if we minus, we have 3 left. So our answer is 356. Right. I hope you will have so much fun finishing and doing all your sums, boys and girls. Please remember, you can always try again if you make a mistake. I will see you shortly after the ad break.
Do you have children in the age range of 5 to 6 years and want to participate in our school booklet program? Please contact us on 081 74 3759 and we will put you on our distribution list for the attention of pre-primary schools. Topics include family, summer, culture, traditions and houses, transport and communications, occupations, autumn and more. We distribute countrywide in over 10 different languages.
We came at the end of our lesson today, boys and girls. But before we say goodbye, you have to remember to sanitize. So remember everyone, sanitizing keeps our hands clean and all the germs away. Right, now everyone, before we say goodbye, I asked my friend Zoshi to come and say bye with me. So, from Zoshi and I, we say goodbye.
Our online school will help you along the way. Find us at www.zoshi.online and download the booklet. Follow us on Facebook to never miss a video. Subscribe to our Zoshi Telegram channel if you want to receive daily updates. Proudly sponsored by the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, Namibian Community Trust, UNICEF, My Zone Online School, Amos Meerkat Syllabus, and Capricorn Foundation.